Okay, gentlemen. First, Brian, I'm up in your DMs. I get you on my show. I say, Brian, give me an early look. Just give me an early look. And then what do? I wake up today and I see that you just published it live to everybody without a recognition of the hard work I've put in to helping Glider get to where it is today. I'm disappointed.
Well, Jess, first, it's great to be here. First thing. One, you haven't met my co-founder, John, so I'll give him a moment in a second. We'll talk about what Glider is and why we didn't share more early access info for you quite yet, because I feel like we still have more to build. And I think that's what's holding us from sharing it back with people like you.
Listen, it's okay. It's okay. I bet negative mark in the box, but John,
he holds grudges.
No, listen, I just want to, I'm trying to maintain the air of power that I have here, and maybe I'm doing a poor job of it. But okay, here, let me hear it. I'm going to take another chance here. John Johnson.
Hello?
Brother, that is an incredible X handle. You've got the John Johnson. I was like, what time? When did this dude join? He joined Twitter before me. And so my question to you is, did you go to any tweet ups?
Oh man, this was way back when. I don't know if I ever did. I was a heavy Twitter user really early on, though. Yeah, totally. Oh yeah, I had screenshots of the old apps, and it's like from a different era, but for sure.
I mean, John Johnson must be an impossible name to get on any new network if you're not super early. So GG to you.
It's with the first most popular first name and the second most popular last name in America.
It's like Adam Smith is the only more S tier one. Okay, so well, good to have you on. I think we've only had Brian on before. John, you guys are co-founders here. I mean, big news. Appreciate you guys are jumping on with us today. I think
we're live. We're live. Glider's live today. So we finally removed our gated access. Over the last, 3-4 months or so, we've had over 50,000 people come into the platform. We have tens of thousands of users that use it daily, which is pretty exciting. Many of them repeats, of course. And we've started to create a bit of a ritual of people like checking their portfolio. How's it doing? Come back the next day, check it, and see how that evolves. For those of you who aren't familiar with Glider, Glider is a portfolio management system. We make DeFi really seamless so that you don't have to think about signing, gas, bridging, like any of the complexities that currently exist in DeFi. It's built for crypto natives today. If you just have funds that you want to, diversify into or lend, when we add lending very soon. But over time, we will move that towards more normal people using and investing in on-chain assets. So that's where we think there's a lot of interesting things to do.
Why did you guys start with rebalancing? So I opened the product today, was kind of expecting to be able to jump into some yield pools and you guys would kind of optimize my yield, and didn't see that and saw a bunch of kind of rebalancing portfolios instead. Like why start there?
John, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I mean, I can take it so I've been in DeFi for a good while now. And so I think it's really important the way you build up the platform, right? And so for me, the most atomic fundamental unit is shifting around assets or tokens. And then from there, you kind of think about, if you take an asset a first approach, like yield is a product of the asset. And so to me, being able to move around seamlessly across chains is step one, right? Step two, like you've hinted at, is now that I can move these assets seamlessly and just declare my outcomes that I want, which is basically what like an index kind of represents. Now just click a button to yield. And that's basically where we're headed with Glider. So like V1 out today is our first initial launch, but like fast follow, I think you'll see yield very soon. Basically.
Got it. Can you make the case for rebalancing? So I was looking at the 50-50 Bitcoin ETH. Like the last thing I would have wanted to do over the last 6 months is rebalance. Like, sure. Bitcoin's outperforming, just let it run. Like
let it run, baby.
What's the case for rebalancing?
Yeah, I think it bodes well into like how we're thinking about the evolution of the app, as John mentioned, right? Like you don't have to set up a rebalancing pool. You can do market cap weighting. You can do any type of weighting you want.
Okay.
But ultimately, we're building a system here where you can react to any type of trigger, whether it is a tweet or some type of external data that you have. And so creating the system to start is a really nice way of getting people diversified across major assets. 80% of the assets that we have on the platform are sort of what you would expect, like stablecoins, ETH, and Bitcoin. Like, we are building a platform for long-term investing. We are not building a platform for trading, to be very clear. Like, there are plenty of places that you can trade. Trading is going to be commoditized. It probably already is, actually, and it's going to be taken over by the Robinhoods and the Coinbases of the world. It's not interesting to build in that space in our minds. We think that the actual movement of assets between protocols, between chains, and the automation of that, the orchestration, is really what's exciting. And that's not something that Coinbase or Robinhood can quite easily create in their existing applications, right? Like, they're not going to be able to do these sort of new automated user experiences in a way that we can as a very small company.
Yeah, interesting. It reminds me. So, I mean, I think we've seen some startups run at purely the index fund type or the index opportunity. So I think, going right back to the fully on-chain stuff, I think alongside crypto was sort of the other A16Z backed company that had stepped into this, and I think has stepped away from it since then. And so I think it makes sense to me that this is probably the right building block for you guys to start with. And also, I guess it brings up a question of, like, who is the ultimate user here? Because so for me, I was in the alongside index during the bear market. I was like, this is easy. I can rock and roll it whatsoever. But really, when I just signed up for Glider here, so despite Brian's limitations here, and clearly, I'm more of a power user. I want to get into the Glider create flow here, and even though it's fairly limited in what you can do right now, I go, okay, I can see that you're building me some building blocks. But I guess the question in my mind is this for the average retail buyer, or are you trying to go after folks that are going to do more fancy stuff?
I think John can touch a little bit on, again, the reason why we built this in the way we built it and how this sort of touches on AI. So I'll pass it to John here.
Yeah, I think taking a step back real quick is like Glider, you describe things in terms of outcomes. And like, I think that's a really important nuance. It's more than rebalancing, right? It's, I want these things, right? I don't care how that happens necessarily, but I just want these things. I want ETH and I want it to be in lend it out. I want BTC and I want to lend it out this way. I want to take a profit if I hit 50% P&L on a certain asset. The actual mechanics behind the scenes don't matter. And honestly, it should not. And so I think where Glider differentiates is it starts to make you think in terms of outcomes. And if you build up the right primitive sets there, like the right building blocks, you can have some really cool outcomes. You can just say, I always want an equal weighted market cap of these 5 assets, but always yielding. And because you can describe that in terms of an outcome, Glider can do that. Whereas if you did that with a sequence of steps, it's near impossible, right? It's just this like really, really complex, gnarly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kind of steps that break.
I love it. I think that is very simple and yet so obvious.
Right. Like to me, like
my DeFi brain is just riddled with
programmable money. Why wouldn't you think in terms of outcomes, right? And so like I think a lot of competitors,
John, that's why.
like you have to think very imperatively, like very series of steps, right? Like a map quest versus a GPS. Like that to me, the Glider is the GPS of DeFi versus like a map quest. But like kind of dovetailing back to who is it for? Well, we're meeting people where they're at. Crypto Twitter, power users, people that want to try this stuff out. You see the editor. That's in my mind, that's a bit heavy of a product. And so what we're doing is that's mainly for us, power users thinking like they really want to wield the thing, the block builder, right? But what we have behind the scenes, what we've been working on is like more AI driven. So since these blocks are really easy to understand and like grok from an AI LLM perspective, you can actually say, create me a strategy that does X, Y, and Z. And we'll be able to just spit that out because we have a very structured schema, but it's very extensible and very flexible. And so like, I think AI makes it so you never have to see the editor. You never have to touch things. You just describe things in terms of what you want. And so that's why I keep coming back to these outcome-based approaches is very unique. I haven't seen a product doing something like that before.
Yeah, I'm interested in your maybe slightly longer term vision on where we go with agentic finance. Like, do you feel like, does this move into messaging? Do you kind of always have this UI? Do we get to a point where I'm not even telling the agent what I want. I just want it to make me money, and it's kind of making these decisions. So how are you guys? Yeah, what does that look like, and how are you kind of preparing yourself for that future?
Yeah, I think there was a really good article or like post that Ribbit put out maybe like 2 weeks ago that sort of talked about like how agents will personalize financial advising. I think that's the direction we ultimately go into, where it's like an agent can actually consider a wide breadth of variables that an individual might have. The part that actually Ribbit we felt like got wrong was that all of the companies that they mentioned in that section are traditional fintech companies, and none of them are building on chain. And when you have Larry Fink saying, okay, you know, all the assets are going to be on chain, those companies aren't going to be relevant, right? You actually need to have actual ways of moving things on chain and programmatically doing that with sort of the building blocks are there for a way to have the LLMs translate things specifically to a neural network, basically, you know, so that you don't have this like type in 5 things and then suddenly the neural network gets it wrong because it has no idea what you're talking about. It's a nice middle layer there. And so, yeah, does the future look like, can I give an agent money and just makes money? No, I don't think that's where anybody is going. That's a trading firm. That's a hedge fund. But a world where you tell an agent, hey, I want these things done. I'm having a child. I'm going to buy a house. And all the assets are on chain. That's the future we're building for.
Yeah, I'd real quick to add to that, I'd say like LLMs, AIs can use Glider as, to me, LLMs are very good at high level, like, hey, they can understand the lay of the land. They know kind of like high level what they want to do. Where they really struggle, and we researched this almost like 2 years ago. We were doing LLM research. We were getting really into what they can and can't do really well. And it's the math, the minutia, the reverts, the repeated, like, on-chain is a scary place, and it's not a great place for LLMs. Where LLMs really excel is high level. What do I have in my bank account? What's the vibe? What do I want to do? Give me recommendations. What they'll do is just update their glider configuration, right? Like, because that is outcome based, the AI can just say, I now want these things. I want to be lending this out. I like want to borrow against this because I want to buy my house, blah, blah, blah. Like, those are outcomes, right? And so now they just update those outcomes, save it to Glider, Glider manages it. So Glider does the really nitty gritty, like robust things that you don't want to be wrong. And then the AIs can do the high level planning. And I think that's a really cool trade-off. I think currently people are kind of shoehorning AI into everything. And that's where like, oh, they got a trade wrong and they lose trust with the user. Don't delegate that part, delegate that to Glider. And then lean into the AI being smarter on the higher level stuff.
I do think it's interesting because I think there's there are things that I want to control, and therefore I think engaging with an agent or a Glider type platform to take a lot of that sort of detail work off my plate and ultimately just drive to specific outcomes. But do you think this idea of just giving somebody money that goes makes me money is probably going to be very, very compelling? And calling that a trading firm, I think, is right. I think like, damn rights, I want to go put some money into that. But it's maybe it's through Glider. I say, hey, Glider, I want to go do this and put 10% YOLO this into the top 2 to 3 incredible agentic trading firms.
Yeah, like a block can be an agent. So it works both ways. An agent can run a Glider, and then the blocks themselves are very extensible. So you could say, delegate 50% of my portfolio to the latest AI, and that can actually go and talk to it and decide what to allocate just in time.
The one thing I will
you're giving good feedback or good advice that the crypto Twitter doesn't want to hear, saying yes, some agents will get lucky, but probably not going to get lucky consistently. So.
To me, like the middle ground right now is describe your trading beliefs and action on them. Like, I think X, Y, and Z are going to happen. And like, to me, I think an LLM is good at decomposing those, thinking about how to actually put those into action, those beliefs, right? Because I think people have ideas. Like, I don't think there's any shortage of ideas. And so those are the alpha to me. It's being able to execute your ideas is what, like, to me, it's the big unlock. It's like, that's why AI is awesome. It's like, you don't have to be technical to write a piece of code. Same idea here is like, you can just have some great ideas, and now you can put them into practice and hit play, basically.
Like, probably the first aha moment I had around LLMs or ChatGPT was just this realization that I didn't need to go from, oh, that's an interesting thing, to not thinking about it anymore. I could go from, oh, that's an interesting thing, to actually just diving in. Like I have it on my phone, I pop it up, I chat if I'm driving, etc. And so being able to yes, there are very clearly times where I'm like, okay, Clanker's going to go have a moment. I just want to go in and say, like, give me some, let me take the beta, and then I'm going to go find me some interesting other things.
Right.
You can do, I mean, I want this for sure. That's why I'm upset
Clankers.
Brian hasn't let me in, right? But that's
okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, I think some. I think you're back. Yeah, you're back. Yeah, I think something else Ribbit talked a lot about was, ultimately it's all about proprietary data capture, and then ultimately having strong feedback loops that create more valuable output tokens. And it sounds like you guys are more interested in being infrastructure and kind of pushing that to the kind of agent LLM layer. Do you not, I guess strategically that seems like a big decision. So I guess just curious how you think about that.
Well, the interesting thing is, right, that you can use any proprietary data that you don't want to provide to Glider to create trades, right? And then if you want to use Glider as a way of capital formation for that portfolio, for that strategy, people can still delegate money to you to run that portfolio. So I think that's really interesting. Is Glider a sophisticated capturing external alternative data for these users? Yes, but it's not so much the alpha decider for you. It's you can bring in any data that you want. But we solve for literally the things you shouldn't have to think about, right? What chain are you on, gas,
Yeah, it's funny. It's like you see the very simple product and miss the incredible complications that go into actually making those very simple things work. So I totally get the understanding of the importance of getting the basics right, both from a user experience perspective, but of course from a confidence in your ability to go and do the more complicated things on top of it. So we'll have to see it. All right, well, make your case here, gentlemen. You're live. Here's your 10-second commercial spot that I know Brian is so ready for.
So Glider is live today. You can deposit any asset on Base and most EVM chains. We're looking for lots of feedback. It's early days for us. We'll be introducing Yield very soon, and then we're already working on major chains like Solana, Monad, Plume, Binance Chain, you name it. It's our belief that you shouldn't care what chain you're on. You should be able to invest in any asset that you want to invest in, and grow your wealth, right? We're not building a trading pump and dump shop. There's plenty of trading apps out there. This is a place for you to invest and grow your wealth. Awesome, guys.
What am I looking for? What would I want? Anytime you release a new little building block on that design thing, let me know. I'll go put it to work.
Yield triggers. Stay tuned. It's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, whatever you got.
It compounds really quick. I'm excited to show you guys the next iteration.
Awesome, guys. Well, congrats on the opening, and yeah, I mean, we'll probably check back in once I make my first milli off of Glider.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Peace, guys.